Hello, and thank you for joining us for this conversation of what Edge is and isn't. My name is Adeel Omer. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at Lumen Technologies, and I'm glad to have you here for a conversation that seems to be all the rage these days, and that is all about the Edge. Now, before we get into the technical mumbo jumbo of Edge, let's talk about how our lives have generally changed over the last few years due to the pandemic. I personally took on exercising out of my home. Prior to that, the gym was my refuge. It was on my way home every day. And I suddenly had to pivot to all these people who were big fanatics of their home exercise machines and their connected fitness equipment. And I've got to tell you, it really is a life changer. And what that led me to understand is the amount of technological complexity that sits behind a live class taking place halfway around the world, being telecast over digital networks to millions of devices worldwide. It truly is a technological marvel, and that is something that we just take for granted. When I think about Edge and I think about the underlying technology, that is what I think about. It's the use cases that we apply every day that Edge is enabling because of the lower latency and high bandwidth that it enables. If you take this use case around connected fitness in your home and kind of zoom out a little bit, you'll see there's two things here that I mentioned earlier. There's latency, which is how quickly can data bounce from one point to another on the network, right? So between my connected exercise machine and the camera that is recording the instructor in London. That's a measure that's really important because you want this to be as near real time as possible for my metrics to be transferred back and forth. The other thing that's really important is bandwidth. I want that quality of the feed to be really high quality. And so when you start to look at the use cases that we see more and more, AR, VR gaming, you start to see media and entertainment, you start to see connected supply chains, you start to see robotics. Those will all require more and more data, and they'll require less and less latency. So if I'm a robot, and I need to have the data transferred from the camera in a different place to be able to pick something in a different room, I need all that data to be transferred pretty fast. Now, what if it's not a different room in the same building? What if it's a different room 2 cities away or 2 states away? Now that latency becomes really important. What if the data that's being analyzed is a video feed, a high resolution video feed? So what we're seeing is this trend towards a need for lower and lower latency coupled with more and more bandwidth needs. And these use cases are prone to requiring a different kind of technology. That's where Edge becomes really, really popular or very, very important. Now, the other reasons that are driving edge computing, there's this 4 forces concept. And that is, the first is law of physics, right? That latency just, if data is traveling at the speed of light, that distance is going to cause a delay in that packet moving from California to New York City. There's no way you can go about that, right? So if my data center is halfway around the country, it's going to cause a change. The other one is the law of economics. Those data transfers tend to be expensive. You've got the law of the land, which is, hey, there's California privacy laws, so I want to make sure my data stays in California. And finally, Murphy's Law, which is, something can go wrong, it probably will. There's breakages, there's outages. So you want to depend on something that's nearby and possibly more reliable as a result. So edge computing is the answer to a lot of organizations' pains around how do I deliver this enhanced experience? How do I deliver online shopping, augmented reality use cases while dealing with the latency and bandwidth requirements? How do I deliver better performance, right? People don't like slow experiences. They want high performance and high responsiveness. Some use cases can't even work unless you have super high responsiveness. Augmented reality is a great example of that. How do I manage all of this more easily? How do I provide the auditability and the governance for all of this? That's where edge computing becomes very important to businesses across all industries. Now, I said I'll talk about what edge is, so hopefully we ran through that real quick, but what it is not. There's a trend in technology for organizations to want to try and co-opt the hottest new trend and the hottest new terms, and edge is no different. So you'll see a lot of companies saying 5G is edge. 5G certainly provides data transport wirelessly. It is not the edge. You'll see infrastructure providers trying to say edge is, oh, it's the same old thing. You've always had servers on premises. Now we're just calling them edge servers. They're part of an edge solution. They're part of an edge implementation. They are not the edge. Neither is the edge a place on the network or a place within your organization. So it's important to understand what edge enables, which is a brand new way to deliver data intensive, low latency requiring applications to users worldwide in a distributed manner, and what it isn't, which is somebody's way of just trying to rebrand their solutions to what it is that organizations are looking for. So look forward to that conversation a lot more when we talk about edge and the IoT Summit. Thank you.